Yeah, there were actually quite a few. Um, yeah, it's obviously different because we've it, um, it's not the same as it used to be where you would have like no contact with them all of you know July, August, September. You wouldn't be able to be on the court, and the first day of practice, the first week of practice was always like grinding it out and really difficult. But now, there's so much access. We've been doing things for like a month or at least, so that we've we've seen a whole bunch of like really really great things over the course of the last month or so. There are times when we look like like we're pretty far along. So it's it's encouraging because there's a competitive level that I think is really good. Our young guys are really adding a lot. They're adding a lot, in so many ways. Um, so didn't even feel like the first day of practice because we've been doing it for so long.
Geno, I was just wondering if you had any clarity on your schedule, any updates, and if you could just speak on losing Notre Dame from this year's schedule.
Well, anymore, there's no rhyme or reason for what happens. You just kind of roll with it. I don't know what the policy is in the ACC or what, why some teams can play and some teams can't, why you can play a certain number of games. I don't know. But we were hoping that we'd be able to keep our entire schedule as it was designed. But unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. So we lost a lot of games in that early November time, and we thought we'd be able to keep the rest. And then we lost, just recently the Notre Dame game. So Neil's working on trying to get as many dates filled, because we're not the only one in that situation. We're not the only one that's being affected by this. So we're trying to add another game. We're talking to whatever schools are also in that situation, and hopefully we'll have some more concrete information next week. And then when the conference releases their schedule of what days we're playing, that'll help. We don't have that yet either. So we know we play the 28th and 29th. We're good with that. We know we play at Tennessee, but we don't know exactly what day. We know for sure we're playing at Baylor, but we don't know what day exactly. And that's what we got right now.
Geno, did today feel like a normal day of practice, regular routine? I know you've been going at it, like you said, but with this being the first full day, is there anything normal yet to what you're dealing with, or is it still a lot of protocol that you have to deal with?
It's still the same. The protocols have been in place since we've been here, so that hasn't changed. It's still the masking stuff, and all that, and we still have, things that we can and cannot do in our building. But I would say the only thing that was a lot different today than some of the other days that we've had is, we went a little bit longer because we cover a bunch more things. We spend more time, going over things because, we can. But other than that, it felt like what we've been doing for the last month.
Geno, do you remember much about your very first practice as head coach at UConn 35 years ago?
Yeah, I was really worried. I actually thought the players we had were pretty good. I'm like, damn, I'm surprised that they only won 9 games last year. You know, these guys are not bad. You know, they're not bad. They're pretty good. Like, I think we can be all right with this group. So yeah, I remember how, you know, I was worried, but at the same time, like, I was like, hey, these guys are going to be okay. And I remember it was more compared to today. It was more drills. I mean, there must have been 100 drills that first day, and running, and, you know, just the intensity level of it. And they had never been through anything like that. And I remember Peggy Walsh telling me years later that she went back to her dorm after that first week or two. And she told her roommate in her dorm, I just want you to know from now on, you're sleeping in the top bunk because I can't climb up there. It was worn out, man. But yeah, I remember how nervous I was, you know, hoping that I was doing the right thing. Again, we didn't have a chance to do individuals in September. We didn't have a chance to do anything in June or, you know, July or any time. So I was seeing them for the very first time.
How much has changed for you over the years in what you try to teach your kids? Not necessarily on day one of practice, but just over the years, how have you evolved in your way of being a teacher, your understanding of the game, and how you try to impart what you want to these kids?
I think there's a lot more emphasis put on the offensive end than there was back then. That's just the way the game was taught back then. It was more defense oriented. It was way more defense oriented. It was all about toughness drills and, you know, conditioning drills and, you know, this defensive drill, that defensive drill, this rebounding drill, that rebounding drill, and, you know, trying to beat some intensity into them or, you know, toughness into them. And then offense was kind of left, you know, on the back burner, like, yeah, we'll get to it. And it for me, the last 20 some years, at least, maybe more, for me, have been more of, that's not what the game is all about. You know, the game is about can you get a bucket when you really, really need one? Can you teach your players how to play basketball and play a certain style of play? Back then, I wasn't really worried about that. Back then, you know, you were just trying to teach toughness and defense, and, you know, scores were in the 60s, and, you know, and I think when the 3-point line come around, you know, I took advantage of it right away, and I think that kind of got me going, and I've become more of an offensive coach more so each and every year since then to this day.
When you go as long as you have, there could be a tendency to kind of take things for granted or maybe get used to things. Do you think this year, with all of the challenges, put you in sort of like a whole new starting over, a whole different kind of a challenge for you to do something different? If you kind of get what I'm saying. It's like starting over again in some ways because of the different challenges.
That's always the age-old question that you have to ask yourself as a teacher, as a coach. How much of what you know works and you've been successful with it? How much of that do you hold on to because you know it works and you know it's been successful for so many years? and how much innovation do you have to come up with? How many new things do you have to introduce? So for me, it's been a little bit of it's been a little bit of both. I mean, I don't think I ever come into any season wanting to do things exactly the way I did it the year before. So there'll be things we do this season that we didn't do last year, and there'll be things that we do this year that will look like they did last year, but we'll go about it in a different way. But there hasn't been, I don't think, any time over the last 25 years where I feel like I've come to practice to start a new season and said, let's just do what we did last year. Let's do it exactly the way we did it last year. That's not who I am. I don't know if I can, I'm a tinkerer. I like new wrinkles to what we do, and still hold on to all the stuff that's great about what we do. But if I have to get a certain thing done, I want to find a different way to get to the same spot. And it's exciting for me because I get to teach it, and it's exciting for the players because if you play in our program for 4 years, you might do the same thing every year for 4 years, but you might do it a different way to accomplish the same thing. So there's a constant, anticipation about it. What are we going to do next?
Hi, Geno. This is Alexa. You mentioned a few weeks ago when we last spoke with you that you didn't quite know what the identity of this team would look like, that, because everyone got there so late, that was a little hard to figure out at this point. So maybe this is putting you on the spot a little bit, but at this point, first official day of practice, what is your, idea or first impressions of what this group's identity can be and kind of the strengths and weaknesses with this group on the court?
Well, the one strength that I see is there's a competitiveness. I think they enjoy the trying to get something done as a group. They mix very well as a group. You can definitely tell who the young guys are and who the returning guys are, but there's a meshing that's happened, and maybe COVID's brought that about. I don't know, but they've been forced to interact with each other in a way that maybe they wouldn't if this wasn't happening. So I see that. I see a lot of guys want to shoot. It's good and bad, and I hear them talking to me all the time. I can shoot from there. I can shoot from there. I hear that like 15 times a day. I said I can shoot from there too, but I really like somebody that can make them from there. So that's what we're working on now. We got a lot of guys that can shoot from there, but we're trying to find a couple of guys that can make them from there. And they all want to be like really aggressive, and I really like that. They all want to score. They all want to, they all want to steal the ball. They all want to, they all want to go rebound. I just had a conversation with Anna today. I said, what the hell's the hurry? Like what? She goes, well, I don't want to waste any possessions. Like this crazy, like we got to get something done right now. So there's a good feeling about that as opposed to like I'm dragging it along, they're like CD said, we may not win as many games as we did last year, but we're going to enjoy coaching this group. That's for sure. Because there's a certain vibe that the young guys have brought that's distinctly different. Distinctly.
You don't have any seniors, but do you still see some leadership developing? I mean, are the juniors giving you what you want from them?
Yeah. I mean, they're trying their best. I mean, they're doing what they think they need to do. I would say that, Liv has been really, really, really top notch since we've been back. She's been great. You know, just play as a player, she's been different. As a leader, she's been different. So yeah, we are getting what we need. You know, Kristen has never, you know, in the 2 years that she's been here, she's never been as aggressive and as, you know, forceful, assertive as she's been since we started. You know, and Avina, this is, you know, it's new for her. She hasn't played. So I'm just starting to find out like what's her game and what's her personality. And, but yes, especially for Kristen and Liv, they've been exactly what we wanted them to be, for sure. They've been great.
How about offensively? You said you enjoyed teaching the offense or tinkering with it so much. Do you see a ton of potential with this team scoring wise?
I do. You know, we have more depth. We have more players that can score. So that's a good sign. You know, you think about last year's team, you know, we didn't necessarily have trouble scoring, but in some of the really, really tough situations that we found ourselves in, we could have used one or two more reliable scorers. And it seems like we're going to be able to do that. Whether or not that transfers over into big games, I don't know. But I believe we have more ways to score than we did last season at this time. So, you know, Paige and Nika are excellent passers, like excellent passers. So that creates more scoring opportunities by itself. Liv has become a way better passer, and she was already a good passer. So that creates more scoring opportunities. You know, Avina's a good passer. Anna's a good passer. You know, so we've got players that, you know, can make things happen with the ball in their hands. So I feel good about that. And we've got more of them. You know, we just have more players that can play at a high level.
You did say that you're still trying to figure Avina out. Are there any things that you have figured out about her that you know she definitely will bring to this team that'll make you guys better?
Yeah. Well, you know, she's played 2 years of college basketball, so there's a familiarity with it. She understands what the competition is like. She understands what I have to do. So from strictly a physical defender and someone who, you know, wants to get in there and mix it up, you know, she's got like a little bit of an edge to her, which is really, really good. And then, you know, on the offensive end, you know, I don't know that she's a great shooter. I think she's more of a scorer, and she can create something for herself and for others. And she has an aggressiveness to her. You know, she wants to make things happen. And I think it's going to take a little bit of time for her to get back into game mode because she hasn't played in so long. But and it's, you know, with her, Kristen, and Liv, you know, we've got 3 players that have played a lot of college basketball. And I feel good about that.
Geno, the NCAA has just approved the extra year of eligibility for winter sports athletes. Curious, as you've kind of seen that coming down the pipe, any thoughts on whether that's the right move or what it might mean for a program like yours?
They've approved what?
The extra year of eligibility for all winter sports athletes.
For all winter sports athletes?
Yeah. Just came in the last couple of minutes.
So what, all the guys that are playing college basketball this year, if they want, can stay another year?
Yeah, similar to fall sports and spring sports for that matter.
Even if we play a whole season?
Yeah,
Does that make any sense?
that's a fair question.
So you get to play a whole year, play 26 games, 27 games, whatever, and then you get another year next year.
Yeah, whether they play or not, they get the extra year of eligibility.
I think you're going to have a lot of coaches that are going to have a problem with that. Be honest with you. I mean, I don't have to worry. I don't have any seniors. But I think you're going to have a lot of coaches that are going to go, you put me in a tough spot here, because now you're going to have some seniors go, hey, I want to stay. And you got a coach going like, I wasn't planning on you staying. And now what are you going to do? Turn the kid out? I don't like it. If you lose your season, I can see that. If you say, hey, look, the fall sports guys, you lost your season, we'll give that back to you. I can see that. That makes sense. How are you going to let somebody play a whole season and then give them another year? You know? You should have let Avina play last year. That would have made more sense. See, they go from arbitrarily telling people no to now just making up reasons to say yes. Hey, what do I know? It's funny. I was just thinking about that today, about, you know, how much a scholarship is now in some schools. You know, it's like $75,000 at some schools. So all those kids that are getting next year, they got to come back to schools on the hook for that. And with the new kids coming in, what are you going to tell them? We don't have any room for you? Are they going to expand the rosters? Like this is going to cause a lot of consternation in a lot of circles.
Hey, Gino, so when we talked with Kristen last week, she said that Aaliyah kind of reminded her of Fee. So does that comparison fit for you, or does Aaliyah remind you of any other players you've had?
Well, she does have that that same competitiveness that Fisa had. You know, she still wants to impact every possession. You know, she plays hard like Fisa does. She has a lot of energy like Fisa did. You know, she has a motor like Fisa had. You know, she goes at both ends, offensive and defensively, rebounding the ball, you know, getting to the basket. I don't I don't know, you know, whether or not she has Fisa's game. But when you think back to when Feast was a freshman, you know, she played behind Stewie and Tuck. So there wasn't and Gabby. So there wasn't a lot of, you know, there wasn't a lot of room. I think Aaliyah is going to be in a different situation. She's going to have to play a lot. So she's going to be thrown into situations that are going to make her grow up fast, whereas Fisa had an opportunity to kind of slide in there. But in terms of their makeup and their motor and how hard they go, and yeah, she has a lot of Feast qualities. Now, if she can develop her game to match Fisa's game, then we're on to something.
We have time for one or two more if anyone has anything else.
Gino, Paige comes in so celebrated and hyped, obviously. Is like the basketball life she has lived, is that a contributing factor to how a young player might feel how they should immediately fit into a team or a program? Is that pressure you try to insulate them from once they're in your program? And just how in this very early stage have you seen her handle all of that?
Paige is, I mean, she's my idol. Paige is famous for being famous. You know, we ask her all the time, Paige, you're like the most famous basketball player in the country. like people say, well, you got like 4 national championships, you got 3 Final Fours, you got 4 Olympic gold medals. What are you famous for? I'm on the list of most famous people because I'm famous. So I kid her all the time about it, and she just laughs. She can't believe it either. Like, I don't think she can believe all the hype. I don't think she can believe all the, the stuff that's out there about her, because that's like 180 away from who she really is on the court with our players. And you would never know, except for her talent. You would never know. She's just a regular kid that has a lot of talent. She's in the gym all the time working on her game. So you would think somebody that's famous, that somebody, that has all this would just take it for granted. She's in the gym all the time working on her game. And the kids know it. And, they love playing with her because when they're open, they get the ball. And when she's open, they throw it to her and she scores. So, she hasn't been walking around or acting like I'm any different than anybody else. I'm just, a freshman coming into a big time program trying to find my way. But, don't get me wrong. She knows she's good. She knows she's good. And that's part of being good. She knows she's good. And she knows that there's things she can do that are kind of unique. So she has fun with it. But I have fun with her. I enjoy being around her, and she doesn't, like I said, she doesn't take herself too seriously. I can't even tell you all the other names that I call her, but because I just get such a kick out of it. Hey, it's just great to be in the presence of greatness, and be in her aura of her celebrityness. I mean, we've been such a downtrodden program for all these years. We needed, that savior to come in here and save us, and she's the anointed one. I'm waiting for the 3 magi to come bring me some gifts, for having her.
Anything else for? Okay.
Yeah, you said that Liv is a better passer. Do you see other improvements in her game? What have you liked about what you've seen in her so far?
Liv?
Yeah.
I just think she has a calmness about her and a composure about her that comes from experience and comes from, growing up. She's not in a rush. You can tell when a player is a little more mature. They don't rush around. They make things look easy. They play with a certain temperament, that allows them to be successful. They're in the moment. They're not ahead of themselves. They're not, and Liv will get like that sometimes. And there were times when Liv would really get disappointed in herself, get mad at herself, and it would really put her into a tailspin. And she just has a demeanor and a composure about her right now that's spot on. It's exactly what we need. And that's going to translate into other stuff, more made shots, more assists, better defense, more rebounding, all those great things.
All right. Thanks, Coach. We'll have players on in like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Thanks, Coach.
Tell Paige I said hi. Tell her to have her people call my people.